Mr. Bibb wants to say a quick something, if that's permissible, occupy the hood. Yeah, Mr. Bibb. Okay.
Somebody asked me what that.
First donation guys in there.
I said, you're right in the middle of the hood now. My name is Charles E. Bibb Sr. I'm from East Cleveland. I've been working with the councilman since I was in council in 01.
Yeah, you were.
03. You used to get buy all the drugs you wanted, Brother Bob, on 125th and Superior.
We cleaned that up.
He's councilman in Ward 9, I was councilman in East Cleveland. He got his commander, I got my commander from East Cleveland. We shut the whole corner down.
Right on.
Now you can't even buy a cigarette on the corner.
I heard that. That's all good.
That
better be good.
Yeah.
When they were taking Cleveland Clinic from us, all of you in this room, because if something happened to you now, you needed trauma, the trauma center's gone.
Yeah, we need help with that, Charlie.
If you needed an emergency, the emergency's gone. You either got to go to the west side or you got to go to Hillcrest. Let me tell you what's happening here. I had a note. You got to be quiet when I'm talking. Who's this over here?
That's the occupy the hood.
Let me tell you what's happening.
Gangsters.
Oh yeah. In the city of Cleveland, the only school district like this in the whole state of Ohio. 632 school districts.
I'm listening to you, Charlie. I'm trying to listen both ways.
The people in this city convinced you that you don't need to vote. You can't do anything about the school because you can't take anybody out of office. All the officers appointed, all the board members appointed, the CEO was appointed. You have no voice. You have no voice. The most powerful group in the United States right now is the Tea Party. They looked up and seen a Democratic Congress, House of Representatives, led by Pelosi. Y'all remember that? They had a campaign out, 5 Pelosi. Did you see that big bus? Yeah. And what did they do? They did. And they own the Congress now. Everything Obama tried to do, they shut it down. Power. I ate bean soup right up the street with Malcolm X on 125th and Superior. That's my old corner. Malcolm told us why, Vaughn, it's the ballot or the bullet.
I got you.
You know we won't have no bullets because we can't even make a bullet.
We're non-violent.
So you know you're going to have to deal with the ballot. In the city of East Cleveland, right across 125th, they took away the post office. Nobody said a word. They took the post office from the poorest city and took it to Cleveland Heights. 100 jobs, Councilman, 100 jobs.
Oh yeah, you did. You lost.
Shut the post office down.
You lost 800 jobs in Huron Hospital.
Then Huron Road, 850 jobs, Councilman. They took them out, gone. And you know what? That many jobs, there's a lot of businesses supported by the hospital. So they're gone. Now, during slavery, it was against the law to teach African Americans to read. In East Cleveland, we had 3 libraries. They shut 2 down. We got 1 left, and they're trying to give it to the county. It is the children in East Cleveland that need the libraries more than anybody in this county. 2 things about East Cleveland and Cleveland. When they do the grades and they measure the 95 school districts in our area, you know who at the bottom every time? Cleveland and East Cleveland. And they want to shut the libraries down. We must do something about this. I'm here to support Occupy Cleveland. I'm here to support Occupy the Hood. And we're going to keep on working together. And they're going to look up. We're going to all come together. And we're going to decide what we're going to work on first. Because my involvement, I'm probably the only one in here that worked with Martin Luther King, Jesse Jackson, Obama, Brother Bob, besides Brother Bob, Jesse Jackson, Malcolm X. So we went all the way. For those of you who think nonviolence is easy, that's got another thought coming. Because when we had the riots right up and down the street, I know it's hard for some of you young people to imagine the tanks going down the street. And when Reverend Donald Jacobs convinced all us young guys at that time, we like you guys, that to take off our pistols and we would have peace. And we didn't understand that until Martin Luther King came to town. How can you have peace without the pistol? Think about it.
I want to hear from two more people. I want you to hear from two more people. One is really, well, both of them are very important because it affects you. The first person.
Excuse me 1 second, because this is really important. I forgot one announcement. Tomorrow, the medical march looking for people for jobs. Okay. Let me give you this to you. You can speak on it. With the Dennis again on 125th, Count. 125th.
Persons I want you to hear speak is Mr. Patterson, Mr. and Mrs. Patterson, right on the issue of these fraudulent foreclosures that are going on in our community. It's a shame how corporate greed has allowed or has used mechanisms to scare people out their house, pretty much. Can I get you two up here?
Well, you can get one of us.
Hi, my name is Dave Patterson. My wife Marva Patterson and I, we're dealing with an issue in the city of Cleveland, and it's not just in the city of Cleveland, of course, it's Cuyahoga County, statewide, nationwide. And what it is just as we're doing Occupy the Hood and Occupy Cleveland and Occupy America, we got to start occupying our homes. Because what's going on is the banks are coming in and they're foreclosing on people, and they're doing it without the documentation to do it legally, and the courts are allowing this to happen. So what we have to understand is if you're in your house and you get a foreclosure notice, don't automatically accept that that's gospel, because it's usually not. Today with the mortgage-backed securities, and this is a scheme that the banks came up with to make sure that they made as much money as possible at our expense. They took 8, 10, sometimes 15,000 mortgages and put them in one package. Called it a mortgage-backed security, sold it on Wall Street, and it got sold over and over and over again. And then when they had to go into these backed securities to find out what the paperwork was, they came to find out that there were no deeds. There was no paperwork. That's right. Nobody knows who owns what. So we're going to expound on this more and more as we move along, as we go to the next Occupy the Hood session, and as we move forward in this situation. But what we need people to understand, at least initially, is don't leave your home. Whatever you do, don't leave. Right. We know there are a lot of people that are very tentative about even speaking about this issue because nobody wants to admit they're in foreclosure. Okay? That's right. They're ashamed. Don't be ashamed. No, it's everybody. It's everybody. And these banks are preying on us now, just like they did when they were issuing predatory loans 10, 15 years ago. But the culmination of this is all coming to a head now. And the greed that the banks and the mortgage industry and even the judicial industry, the judiciary is as big a part of this as anything. Because they're allowing these foreclosures to go through, even though this paperwork is not being produced at the time that these actions are being taken. So again, we're going to get deeper into this as we go along, but the idea initially, the core is, if you get a foreclosure notice, do not leave your home. If you have to, the next best first step is, if you get that document saying you're in foreclosure or they're foreclosing on you, you need to send a letter to either the bank or the legal team that's representing the bank and say, produce the note. It's just that simple. Repeat it. Produce the note. Right. It's just that simple. If after sending that letter you don't get a response within 8 to 10 days, you go to the court and go before the judge and you tell him, I'm asking you to admonish them to produce the note. Because 8 out of 10 times nowadays, they can't do it. In about 65 to 80% of the foreclosures, these things are mortgage-backed securities. They can't find the paperwork. Don't assume that they have it. Make them produce it. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Nice. I don't want to add just a little bit on there. What the banks are also doing, they're producing what's called a launch note. Payment from this bank, it's like a promissory note. This one bank said, I just purchased your house and here is my promissory note to state this. More so now, these launch notes are illegal documents, they're forged documents. You should know who your lender, who is your lender. You find out, you Take a look at all of your foreclosure paperwork. Keep a trail. You need to do this. You need to continue to keep your documents. It's very, very important right now because they bank on the fact that you don't know where your mortgage documents are. You have no idea who your lender is, not your servicer. Those are two different things. So they're really preying on the fact that people are ignorant based on foreclosure laws and based on how the process really works. We're not saying we're gurus in this, but what we are saying is that we know a lot of foreclosures are illegal and launch notes are being produced and foreclosures are moving forward. The judges are accepting these illegal launch notes, but legally they should not be doing this. But you have a right to say no and to question whatever comes. So we are, as Dave said, we are going to prepare more seminars and we're going to try to get more information out there. And please don't be embarrassed. You shouldn't be. Because if you're embarrassed and you're afraid, you're not going to do anything to help yourself. And before too long, there won't be anything anybody can really do. They're going to move towards the sheriff's cell, and next thing you see is a police officer at your door. But again, that would also be illegal. They would be in essence trespassing because the bank did not originally own the note, nor did the bank originally own this particular foreclosure. So we're just asking, continue to stay informed, and we will try to get you as much information out there as possible. And thank you. Thank you so much.
We got a couple of questions out here. Yes?
I was just going to say, I don't know if people know about ESOP, Empowering Strengthening Ohio's People, but what they do is if you're in that situation, you get a foreclosure notice. If you contact ESOP, it's all free. Someone will kind of be your middle person to work with you and your lender and the people that are trying to foreclose. So you might want to look them up if you're in that situation because they act as the middle person and make the situation a little bit.
The question is on them, are they handling these particular fraudulent foreclosures?
One of the tidbits of information about ESOP that a lot of people aren't aware of is ESOP is actually funded by Bank of America and Wells Fargo.
No, that works.
Actually, I have the book.
Yeah.
We have the book. Yes, they are one of their funded. Yes, they are.
I'm sorry.
They absolutely are. Okay. But
We should have brought it.
But we won't get sidetracked in the periphery. What we really want to do is make sure that people understand if you get pushed, you tell them to produce the note. And another thing that we're going to do in the next few weeks to the next month is when we have another seminar on this, we have attorney Mark Dan willing to come out and answer people's questions with respect to foreclosures. If anybody remembers, Mark Dan is a former Attorney General of the state of Ohio. And he's the guy that goes after these mortgage companies with a fury. They hate Mark Dan. And so we have incorporated him. He says that he's going to set some of his time aside to meet with the people that we meet with to answer some of the questions they may have that we may not be able to address.
Because there's
Yes.
Dave and Marva answered